In this demo, we'll see how to use the Microsoft Agent Framework in conjunction with the marketing tool AWeber to create an AI marketing agent. This is the accompanying blog for this demo, and in this blog we discuss the code, what we're building on, the plan, and the project structure. Just for some extra context, we're building on a previous blog in this series whereby our AI agent was able to perform research against a list of trusted resources such as the Microsoft Foundry blog, OpenAI, and Anthropic. Some recent additions in this version of the agent allow you to send a newsletter via the AWeber marketing platform. So the blog is here for a deeper dive into the code. But for now, we'll dive out of the blog and into Visual Studio to see this agent in action. We're in Visual Studio here, and over to the right hand side we can see we have a project called Agent Framework AWeber Newsletter. As I mentioned earlier, this project builds on the background responses agent that was built in an earlier blog post. We've got some new additions and we can look at those just now. So to interact with the AWeber API, we have a class to model account responses, lists, an AWeber list, and a broadcast response. And these are the objects that are used by the AWeber API. We have a class to represent the tokens, which are used as part of the OAuth dance that we have to orchestrate. And we've got our older news item model from previous projects. In the services folder, we have our service class, AWeber client, and this is used to authenticate with the AWeber API, save tokens, refresh tokens, and make the authentication request. We've also got a private method to send a request to the API, and our method here at line 156 actually is responsible for creating the email newsletters that we want to send out. Security tokens and client IDs are stored in this AWeber tokens JSON file that we can see here. Now that we've looked at the models and the service classes, we can take a look at our revised agent. So this is our AI news service agent from the previous blog post. We have a new function tool, however, and we can see that here at line 261. And this function tool gives our agent the capability to create and send the newsletter. It accepts three parameters: the newsletter or the email subject line, the full markdown content of the newsletter, and how many minutes from now to schedule. So for the purposes of this demo, we set this to 0, and what that does is it will create a newsletter in the AWeber dashboard in draft format, which means that I can log in, review it, and click publish. We can see here that we convert our markdown to HTML. We wrap it in an email save template, and then we also create the plain text version. And finally here, we use our service class, AWeber client, to create the broadcast and send it. Importantly, we need to tell our agent that this function tool should be made available. So if we look into the program.cs, this is where our system prompt is defined for the agent. Not much has changed from the previous blog post and demo. However, at line 77, we have a new item in the workflow, which is item number 5, which tells our agent to create and send the newsletter. And all of the other sections pretty much stay the same. Importantly, down at line 125, that's where we make this new function tool available to our agent. So now that we've ran through the key models, service classes, and the updates to the system prompt, we can run our agent, and when we do, we'll see it research and collect topics that we're interested in from our trusted list of sources, and we will then look at the AWeber dashboard and see our draft newsletter. So let's do that now. So our agent's running as a console application at the moment, so we will ask it to create a newsletter focused on AI agents. And what's going to happen now is our agent is going out to the web, it's researching for topics related to this, and the content that comes back is processed by our agent and the integrated model using the Microsoft Agent Framework, and that information is synthesized. So we've got a breakpoint here where it is actually searching my personal blog for the most recent post. So we'll remove those debug points. So very briefly, we saw an output to the console where the AWeber newsletter was generated and our agent has completed its task. So with the agent having now done its job, we'll jump out of Visual Studio and we'll log into the AWeber dashboard, and what we'll see is a generated newsletter. So here we are in the AWeber newsletter dashboard, and if we look over to the left hand side here, we've got all messages that are available to be sent. If we click on drafts, okay, and the one that at the top that was just generated like 1 minute ago is the newsletter that our agent has created. So we can click on the link and we can have a look at the content. So we've got the HTML on the left hand side here. And over on the right hand side is the content that would be sent out to subscribers. So we've got the overview section, and we've got the section for Microsoft AI Foundry. We've got recent updates to the Microsoft Agent Framework GitHub repo. And we've got Microsoft News, as well as Google's News and Anthropic. We can click on each of the stories if we want to, but it gives us a good starting point to keep up to date with current developments. We've got content on OpenAI, and from the editor is my most recent blog, which is the one that we are reading or watching right now. We've got a section on what to watch, and there's some predictions for the next 90 days. So that was it. That's a quick overview of how we've been able to extend our AI researcher and newsletter agent with AWeber. This effectively lets us create an automated AI marketing agent. If you'd like to find out more information about how this agent hangs together, you can read the accompanying blog and code at jamiemaguire.net.